Hi there, it's Dan from Flexxable, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to combat ad fatigue on Facebook. Let's get stuck in. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about what ad fatigue on Facebook is and why it happens. Okay, so let's say you're running an offer. Let's look at something that a lot of you will relate to. Okay, roofing ads. A lot of people run roofing ads, and roofing's a big lead gen industry. Okay, let's say you're running ads in Miami for a roofer in the States somewhere, and you've got a really good ad, which when you kind of get it launched, you spent time on it, it's working great. Your leads are coming in at $10 a lead, and your client's happy, and things are going great. Okay, and what happens usually, it's around the 3 or 4 day mark, suddenly things start not going so well. All right, your CPMs start going up. Your audience is starting to see, because you've got a finite audience in Miami, they're starting to see the ad multiple times, which we call frequency. Facebook calls frequency. It starts to spike. Facebook's algorithm sees that the ads aren't getting as much engagement, which drops the ad score, which means you charge more per impression. And what happens then is that your clicks cost more, and then all of a sudden your cost per lead starts to spike. All right. And when we're also not taking, because some of you might say, well, Miami's a big place. There's 2 million people to show the ads to, whatever that number is. I don't know how big Miami is, but you've also got to take into account that you've got some sneaky competitors as well in the market. They're going to come in and see your ads quickly. They might even have you in the Facebook ads library as a bookmark, and they see your ads and they just copy off you. They copy exactly what you're doing. So all of a sudden they might have a bigger budget than you, and then your hook starts kind of just not working, because that hook and that angle into the market just starts to fatigue. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not Facebook's fault. It's the fact that there's a lot of people doing the same thing in the same market using the same hook, which means it's not going to work forever. And that's how ad fatigue works, and you've got to be able to combat that. What can you do when you're experiencing ad fatigue? Okay, and I'm going to kind of caveat this, because I'm going to tell you what to do when you're too lazy to create a new hook or an angle, or really do some proper thinking, which is what you need if you're going to be a good media buyer, some lateral thinking. So what can you do? All right, as I said before, the market's seeing the angle, the market's seeing your ad, the market's seeing your image, and it starts not resonating. You're not getting as much clicks, your cost per lead's going up. All right, so the number one lever you can pull is to replace the image or the video and put something new and very different inside Ads Manager and kind of relaunch it. Okay, because the first thing that people see is that they're lazy, they're browsing, and whatever catches their attention is the biggest part of the ad, which is the image. All right, so if you're super lazy and you can't think of new ways to spin your offer, then that's the best thing you can do out of the gate. All right, what follows after that, and we've had a lot of success doing this in the past as well, is because 80% or whatever that number is of the traffic on Facebook is from mobile, and on mobile you only see the first 3 lines of the copy above the image. What we do is we can change those first 3 lines, and turn it into 10 different versions of the same 3 lines, saying the same thing, but just doing it 10 different times, because what you'll find is some language in the way that it resonates with the audience. Changing a few words here and there can make all of the difference. You can just engage the audience differently depending on the language that you use. So once you've done your image, and then you've changed the top 3 lines, and you've combined the 2, then the final thing we would recommend doing is getting there and changing the headline and doing a similar thing to what you would do for the 3 lines. Just try and spin the same offer a number of different times. I'll talk about it in a sec, but a tool like Jarvis, artificial intelligence copywriting tool, is a really good way for you to be able to kind of spin the copy of saying the same thing but in a different way in the headline, and also in the copy, those first 3 lines. All right, so that's what I recommend doing. How can you prevent ad fatigue ever happening? Well, for me, it's a pretty simple concept. You've just got to stay ahead of the game, all right, before it gets to 4 or 5 days when things start spiking out of control, and then you panic and you get new stuff up, and that doesn't work either, and all of a sudden you're spending $300 for one lead. You don't ever want to get into that situation. So you need to be organized and you need to have a plan of action, okay? And there's a number of different ways to do that. Some people might have a sandbox campaign and a production campaign. Okay, the sandbox is where you test a lot of the new stuff to see what works, and the production campaign is where you leave stuff that's kind of working, all right, which will fatigue over time. But the sandbox campaign allows you to test new stuff, all right? And if, over time, as you get good with your lead gen and your offer, you can tell when an ad is doing well by its kind of CPMs and click-through rates and cost per clicks. If you're testing in the sandbox and you know it's got legs, then guess what? It's time to move over to the production campaign. So, how do you test and how do you get a lot of different variations up? Well, kind of what I explained before. Lots of different images, lots of different headlines, lots of different copy. The 3 lines at the top always make a big difference. Be ahead of the game. Spend your time, focusing on that rather than kind of waiting to the last minute and being a lazy media buyer, because that's what most people do, all right? This stuff isn't easy, okay? You have to stay ahead of the game, all right? You need to be able to understand what moves the needle for the consumer that's looking at the ad, all right? And one way to do that is pick up the phone and speak to your client. Mr. Client, if there's 100 people that are coming in that are becoming a lead into your system, what are the common threads? What are their objections? What are they worried about? What really gets them excited? These are the type of things you want to put into your ad copy, because we know that's coming direct from the horse's mouth rather than you just guessing as a media buyer that doesn't understand roofing. All right, that's super important. The other thing is that I see a lot of people make this mistake is they're trying to sell the product or the service within the ad, all right? They're trying to sell the roof. You could be selling them the energy efficient savings of having a roof. You could be talking about the safety or the warmth that it provides the family. These are probably bad examples and I'd have to think about it, but you want to be able to get people intrigued enough to be able to get the click, sell the click rather than the roof, okay? When you can wrap your head around that concept and let the landing page and the funnel do the lead capture rather than trying to sell it in the ad, that's when things don't fatigue as quickly, because Facebook just loves ads that are kind of native in their ad platform and get a lot of clicks and a lot of engagement. That's what they want with the ads rather than sell a roof with a government grant or something like that. I mean, we've all seen that 100 times, and guess what? That's not going to work for long. You might get lucky for a few days, but that will fatigue. Please do give us a like if you want us to create more content like this. If you have any questions about ad fatigue on Facebook, anything like that, please comment below in the comment area. And also, if you want to be the first to receive news of new kind of videos from us about lead generation and performance-based lead gen, then subscribe to our channel so you're the first to know. Okay. The other thing I want to mention is that if you do want to get into pay per lead, you're a little bit scared about kind of losing money and the differences between what you get paid from the client and what your media costs might be, or you don't know how to land clients, or you're just a little bit intrigued about pay per lead and performance-based lead gen, you seek a retainer clients and all that type of stuff, then we have a game plan on how you can transition to pay per lead without risking any of your current client income. It's really good stuff. Enjoy. Click below to get that. Cheers.